24-year-old Jason Howard's about to be charged with aggravated murder for killing a man and shooting at 2 others. But it's the family of the victim in another murder case that suddenly charges into the courtroom in a raw and emotional outburst. 24-year-old.
In June 2006, after not hearing from her daughter for a while, Jamelia West decided to drive to her home to check on her. What she didn't know was that her life was going to change forever. When Jamelia walked through the home, she noticed that her 27-year-old daughter and grandchildren were all slaughtered. This is Jamelia West's story. Jamelia West was born on October 29, 1978 in Warren, Ohio. She grew up in a close-knit family and was very close to her siblings and her mother, Victoria, so it wasn't a surprise that she would become a dedicated mother as well. Jamelia had 3 kids, a 10-year-old daughter named Jameer Irvin, a 5-year-old son named Trevion Williams, and a 3-year-old son named Jakia Howard. Although Jamelia had a loving family, she did have a problem in her life, and that problem was her ex-boyfriend, Jason Howard, who was also the father of her 3-year-old. In 2004, Jamelia reported that Jason grabbed her by the neck and threw her on the ground. He then threatened to unalive her. He was convicted of domestic violence, and Jamelia was issued an order of protection against Jason. But Jason returned to the home later that same month and tried to smother Jamelia with a pillow. He was finally convicted and sent to prison, where he served 1 year and 5 months and was placed on a supervised release. After this, Jamelia decided that she needed to move to protect herself and her children. The 27-year-old mother packed up her children and moved into a home in Columbus, Ohio, which was about 2.5 hours south of Warren. According to Jamelia's mother, Victoria, in a journal that they found after Jamelia's unaliving, they said that Jamelia wrote that she was through with Jason and that when she told him that, he threatened her. On Monday, June 19, 2006, authorities found a 24-year-old by the name of Philip Dolly unalived in a field on Front Street in Warren, Ohio. Philip had been shot and was pronounced unalived at the scene. This was around the same time that Jamelia's family noticed that they hadn't heard from her since Saturday, June 17th, which was very unusual as Jamelia always kept in contact with her loved ones. Victoria, being a worried mother, decided to drive all the way from Warren to Cleveland to check on her daughter and her grandkids. And when she arrived, that's when she found her daughter and her 3 grandkids, all deceased. Jamelia was unalived due to a gunshot wound to the head. Jameer had been strangled, and Trevion and Jakia were both suffocated. Their bodies had already started decomposition. Authorities believe that they were unalived either that Saturday, June 17th or Sunday, June 18th. Jason was immediately a suspect, and after a brief pursuit, he was arrested. He admitted to the unaliving of Philip Dolly, but denied having any involvement with Jamelia and her kids. Victoria and the rest of her family believe that Jason was the person responsible, though. 4 months after their unalivings, Jason was charged with the unalivings of Jamelia and her 3 children. When he appeared in court, it was a very wild day, and Jamelia's family did what any family would want to do if they were in this situation, and let all of their anger unleash.
Those doors open up and this huge brawl breaks out.
Jamelia West's brother, Lewis, reaches across the divider and punches Howard repeatedly. Handcuffed and chained around the waist, he is completely vulnerable.
Grabbed the chains that he had and pulled him back.
The deputy slams Lewis West against the wall, trying to get the situation under control. Suddenly, Jamelia West's cousin bolts in and hurdles the railing and belts Howard.
It seemed like it was going on forever, and I was like, is anybody coming in?
A deputy is not far behind and is able to restrain the cousin. Jim Lewis is Howard's attorney.
And I tried to pick up a chair to distract him so he wouldn't punch him, and then maybe the deputy could grab a hold of him.
Sit down right now!
Absolute chaos. Nobody was going to listen to anybody. It took brute force to get control of what was going on.
Jamelia's mother is convicted of inciting violence. They are all given fines of up to $1,000 and up to 2 years probation.
Unfortunately, though, prosecutors later dropped all charges against Jason related to the unalivings of Jamelia and her children, based on a lack of evidence. According to the Columbus Dispatch, as time passed, a rift developed between the Columbus police and Franklin County prosecutors. Homicide detectives thought that they had enough to take Jason to trial, but prosecutors stated that they needed more. The charges against Jason was dropped, but he is serving a 44-year life sentence for the unaliving of Philip Dolly. It has been 17 years later, and no new suspects have been named, and Jamelia's family is still waiting for justice. Victoria stated the last time she called Columbus police, they told her that Jason was not going to get out anyways. This gives Victoria no solace though, and it left her feeling like no one cared. According to an article, a code case unit supervisor with the Columbus Police Department stated, "Short of confession, I don't know anything else that could be done. At some point, you've gotten all you can get. As much as we want to solve every case, I have to worry about the guys who are still out there. That's my priority. I don't mean to be insensitive at all when I say that. It's reality, and I have to best use my resources." Jason still continues to deny any involvement with the unalivings of Jamelia and her 3 children. According to Jamelia's little brother Jameer, who was 12 when this happened, the story in the community goes, a man unalived a woman and her kids and got away with it.
Sinkovich interviews the suspect, who says he's innocent in the murder of Jamelia West and her children.
I mean, I was a protector and a provider for my family, but I wasn't there to protect her and die with them. And I wish I was. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd rather be dead right now.
Howard hasn't been charged for the murder of Jamelia West and her 3 children. In fact, no one has. The case is still open, and Howard remains the only person of interest.